Today's youth need teachers, volunteers, and most of all, well, they need you. I'm Doug Edwards, and I'm going to be talking with real youth mentors and students to give you the knowledge you need to be the best youth worker possible. This is Youth Worker on Fire.
Oh, you're trying to bring me down and run me out of town. You're taking what you want, but you can't take my rhythm now. I'm walking to my own beat, just gonna be me. I'm not replicating nobody.
Hello, youth workers. This is Doug Edwards, your host for Youth Worker on Fire, and I'm glad you're here today. Hey, I like to share things that I not only see from Christian communicators, but from the business world and from the world that is coming up with great ideas, because all the great ideas don't need to be in business and just out there in the world and never apply to us, because they actually do apply to us as well. It's why a guy by the name of Dr. John Maxwell, who was a Wesleyan pastor, grew one of the largest Wesleyan churches in San Diego at one time, became and has become and is one of the greatest leadership teachers in the world for businesses as well as churches, because great leadership is great leadership. So just recently, I found this young lady by the name of Codie Sanchez, and she says a couple of things in one of her shorts on YouTube, and there's a lot of other things she does. I'm not recommending her to everyone for everything. She's not a Christian communicator. She's going to use language, and this particular one she does not, and so it's worth you going to listen to this one short piece that's in YouTube by her, but I'm going to tell you most of it so you don't even have to look it up, because it applies to my life, things that I've done in student ministry as well as ministry, period. And that is this, a couple of things that we wish that people had told us, I wish people told me before, was that when you go into ministry, you're going to be miserable about half the time. And I heard her say that about business. And I thought, that's true. That's true. And if you look throughout Scripture, if you look throughout the Old Testament, you look out the New Testament, you look at all the leaders, all the people that God pulled up into the ranks. Number one, the reason I know that God chose me for what I'm doing, or what I did do, especially in student ministry, and why I'm doing this podcast, is because, I'm not the guy that you would really think that would do these things. It really was not my area of expertise. And I found that he will take people that are expert in one area and flip them around to another area, and vice versa for somebody else. And so student ministry was not even on my list of anything I would ever do in life. Perfect for God, because he gets all the credit, and everybody that knows me knows that. And so half of the time, people who serve God are miserable, I think, and it's because ministry is not easy. Ministry is a war. Ministry is spiritual battles, but it also shows itself up physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, relationally, all these things, organizationally. The list goes on and on and on. You can make your own list. I'm sure you're adding things to it. But if you know that you're going to be miserable half the time, here's the reason she said this. This is great. The reason I tell you this is because what I have done to help me get through is to make a happy list. In other words, those things that when I'm in those miserable times, those times that you're going to be down half the time, and everything is not going to be, no matter how great your ministry is, no matter how small it is, no matter how large it is, the one thing you can count on in life, period, is that you're going to have tough times and hard times and times that are just going to get you down. And so her list was, I liked her list, but I've got my own list. Her list was that she makes sure that she can do things quickly to get her out of her misery and to make her feel good again, because when you feel good, when you are on top and feeling great about your life, you think better. It lets off certain endorphins and things like that. Codie's list was she likes to go pet puppies, hold puppies, play with them. She likes to dance like nobody's watching when nobody's around. She likes to jump off cliffs. And, I like some of those things too there. And, jumping off cliffs, one of my favorite pastimes that we did with students. And man, I just love doing that. I love going skiing and things like that where you're up at 10,000 feet and you're really able to hit that hill and feel the wind. You only got a couple of sticks on your feet, or if you're snowboarding, a board on your feet, and that's it between you and high speed and the ground. But my list was this: hit golf balls. One thing I did to relieve the tension was I would go to a driving range sometimes 2 and 3 times a week, especially when ministry was so difficult, so hard. And the reason is that I could look out beyond myself. I'd look at try to hit it, 250 yards, 300, whatever, and just line those puppies up, get the largest bucket of golf balls I could get, and take 30 minutes or 45 minutes and just hit them as hard as I could. Help me concentrate on that, take my worries off of everything that's around me. And the other thing was, before that happened, I remember being so depressed when I was first with Youth for Christ because I didn't know what I was doing. And I was a runner, but I hadn't been running. Instead, I was burying myself in books and studies and trying to get students. There were not a lot of students that we had gathered at that time, and I didn't have a lot of staff, so I was pretty miserable. And I remember one day just throwing my stuff down on my desk and just going, I can't do this anymore. And I got up, put my running shoes on, and I ran for about 3 miles. But it was something quick, and I got up, and I remember at about 1.5 miles, the endorphins kicked in, and I felt great about life again. So I don't know what it is for you, but you may have something like that. And I've had to change things. I went from running, to hitting golf balls, to playing basketball. But anything like that helps your endorphins to kick in, to help you feel good about life, good about stuff, helps you to love your family better, helps you to love people more, because you have to be mentally healthy and happy if you're going to serve others. Proverbs 16:24 says this: kind words are like honey, sweet to the soul and healthy for the body. You need something that will kick in good words. That's what those endorphins do. That helps you to think good thoughts. But you also might have somebody in your life, or some bodies that you can call at the spur of the moment. I have 2 guys in particular. Sometimes you need a kick in the butt, and sometimes you just need good words. So keep yourself. You're going to be miserable about half the time in ministry and business and working with students. And so during those times, make sure you have that go-to happy list. The second thing there, if you're going to be successful in ministry, you have to have people that are smarter than you on your team. And not only do you need to have people that are smarter than you, you also have to have at least one person or other people that are better than you at what you do, so that you have someone that understands what you're going through. Proverbs 13:20 says, be friends with those who are wise, and you will become wise. You need those people. Some people go, well, we don't need anybody smarter than me. I want to be the top dog, the guy who's going to lead. But the opposite is true. I remember pastors would get speakers that were not as good as them, so they thought that when they got back to their church, that their church would go, oh, man, you're the best. That guy was terrible. The opposite is true. You need to get the very best communicators when you are not at your student ministry or at your church speaking, when you can't be there and you need a substitute, because then your people know you know what good communicators are. So remember those 2 things. Number 1, find a way to become happy quickly when you're going through miserable times. Great for you, great for your family, great for your ministry, great for your time with God. And secondly, make sure you have smarter people and better people at what you do on your team. I will tell you, and everyone that was on my team for 35 years knows this. I had some great volunteers, and a lot of them were a lot smarter than me. And my wife, thank God, she is so much smarter than me. And so do those things, guys, okay? Get those smart people in your life. Get those fun things in your life that you can go to immediately, and don't feel guilty about feeling good and having that happy list. Get your happy list, number one. Number two, get your smart people and pray like your life depends on it, because it does. All right, that's my tips for you right now, youth workers. And so go at it. Get on your knees and pray, but go out right now and have a happy time so that those endorphins can kick in and God can speak to you and you can be at your very best because you're happy.
You've been listening to the Youth Worker on Fire podcast. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and tell your friends. Also, leave a comment and tell us what you think. Stay tuned for more informative episodes.